Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
We had shared this about a week or so ago. Juliet Bryant, a Jeffrey E-Man survivor, reveals that she witnessed him transform into a reptilian devil-like thing, literally. She swears that he changed. She never saw anybody else change, even though she was in there with many other influential people. He changed. This is a viral photo. What do you make of this? What is your opinion? Could this possibly be real? Honestly, it does look very, very realistic. And, it's so reminiscent of They Live and V. Remember that series where the reptilians come in and they look like us until they take the masks off, and then they're nothing like us. They just basically want to use us as a resource and a food source. Again, this is the Hollywood perspective, but is it based on reality? Are they disclosing things that they have to tell us in one way, shape, or form? I mean, seriously, look at this. Pretty well done. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. What do you guys think? How about this? Did you know cameras aren't allowed in most court or public hearings? Maybe they could catch glitches. I mean, seriously, look at this. Was this from a sci-fi movie? It could be. Or is there any truth to it? The reality is that you could go through example after example. We showed this one. We showed two others, actually, with this same person at different times. And there's just something really off. There's something really weird. I mean, for one, look at the eyes, right? Is she just on some, I don't know, something potent like Adderall? Is she doing some sort of over-the-counter thing to a very high degree? I mean, why does it even look like there's blood dripping from her lips? There's something wrong with her medulla oblongata.
Yeah, she's very excited.
She looks like, kind of like what my bearded dragon would look like if it was about to get a treat. It's just pretty wild. What's coming out right now, I think, is starting to get a lot of people to rethink what really is reality. What really is the truth? Have you ever seen this one? This is very old, like 10 years ago or more. And the eyes change. And in fact, this person, I think, was like put straight out there that they were reptilian and admitting to it. This was on Russian or maybe it was Ukrainian TV. Could they possibly be really here and alive surrounding us? Maybe they're stars. Maybe they are the real politicians. Credo Mutwa reveals incredible ancient knowledge about the vapor canopy and how the Chitauri split our gender into male and female. Literally, it's interesting because, yes, there are legends and references to beings that were hermaphroditic in more than one mythology. I do think that those beings were also associated with Lemuria, if I'm remembering right. Credo Mutwa from Africa shares the story of the Chitauri who came down in ships. And again, when you look to the word Elohim in the Bible, it's in the plural. Again, the mighty ones are the ones that judge humanity. When you look to the Anunnaki, again, the sky people is what they were, again, referred to. They came from the sky. That's how they came to where we were and landed amongst us. And in the legends that he gives, is people talk about when they came and they gave us everything about our system. They created the political systems. They created the monetary system. They even appointed certain beings to be kings and queens over us. Is there something wrong with his eye? I mean, maybe he went to the eye doctor and had that one pupil dilated. I don't know. It could be a contact. What's going on? When we look at the people that are in the media, when we look at the politicians, Could it possibly be? I mean, we understand that there are bloodlines that are intertwined. Every president besides one has been related to monarchy, again, over in Europe. Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Could it be that, really what we're talking about are beings that are pretending to be human, but they're not human? Sometimes we wonder, when you look at some historical personages throughout history that have been bloody dictators and just brutal beyond what most humans could even possibly conceive of. Could it be that they were never human in the first place? Why is it so hard to get certain beings out of power? It just seems they have 9 lives. They just stay in power even when there's no reason for them to really be in power because nobody approves of what they're doing. Then you have a CIA analyst. He claims contact with reptilian aliens. This is John Ramirez. I was taken by a being who identified itself as Saurian. Their ancestry came from something we would describe as reptiles. Literally, again, a lot of people have said, well, if the dinosaurs didn't die and they really lived, 200 million years ago to like 65 million years ago, maybe they would have evolved to something that was kind of a counterpart to us. And then at the same time, we do have a reptilian section to our brain, and our DNA has definitely been interfered with. There's an obvious second chromosome fusion, as well as so much of our DNA being literally turned off. Could it be that it's really all been a reptilian reality? David Icke was right. And then you have CSI again. So much of our media, so much of our myths and legends, it's always pointing to these beings that can appear to be like us, but can shapeshift and literally be running everything in open plain sight without us realizing that we are not controlled by Homo sapiens. This is the deepest deep state, cold-blooded.
Well, we've been saying for years that we feel that, those that are at the top are definitely not human. And there's some really interesting writings in the Emerald Tablets where they say that they will not be able to hold their form. And I think some of that is coming out. They won't be able to hold their form in a couple of different ways, like literally, physically, and also out in public. I think it's going to be pretty obvious who's a reptilian, and you're going to be able to feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. To walk among us, looking like us, pretending to be us, manipulating us, leading us into all these, nonstop wars that none of us want, but somehow they keep happening. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a reptilian show all along, and the world is finally catching on. So, do spread this knowledge because this is not craziness. They want to dissuade you from sharing this because, hey, they want it to appear that it's craziness, utter craziness. But just think about everything that you've witnessed and think about how much it would all make sense if literally Homo sapiens, humans, were not really the top of the food chain, but in fact we're being utilized as a resource by something very, very cold-blooded and diabolical.
Indeed.
As always, guys, thank you for your support. Make sure you're subscribed to all 3 channels, EEARTS, Evolutionary Energy Arts, Heart's Home on YouTube. Also, thank you for your support on Patreon. Couldn't do it without you guys. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.